If today was a snow day, what would you be doing at home right now?
Probably literally nothing.
I'm kind of partial to that. Like, I mean, the roads were bad, but I'm not mad I'm at school. Probably be sitting at home doing nothing, so.
I'd like a snow day at home, or maybe go skiing if skiing.
Probably at a friend's house.
I think that there should have been a snow day. Yeah, probably hanging out with my friends. Maybe go sledding.
Welcome back. My name is Ryan Underhill, and this is the second episode of the CVU Show. Today, we welcome Peter Booth to our set, where he shares childhood stories and CVU experiences. Hi there, so I'm joined here with Peter Booth, math teacher here at CVU, and we're going to go through a few questions to start this interview off. Nice to meet you, Ryan.
Nice to meet you, Ryan.
Thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure. I'm very
Appreciate
excited.
it. All right, so what is a funny moment you'll never forget in your teaching career?
Well, I used to teach up in room 241 here at CVU, which is a room that has windows out onto a roof. And there was a day when I had a class of sophomores and juniors, and all the sophomores had a meeting for that block. I forget what it was about, but I was left with, I think, 3 or 4 juniors. And there had been a lot of snow the night before, and the juniors crawled out onto the roof. I'm not going to say with my permission. My storyline is that I was not aware they were doing it. And they built a snowman out on the roof of outside room 241. And then I took a picture of that and posted the picture on Facebook with something like, "Another busy day in math class," and got a lot of likes on that photo.
Do you believe in ghosts?
I would say no, but then occasionally I read a story from somebody and I'm like, wow, that seems really realistic, and that person seems like they're not making anything up. And so then that kind of freaks me out.
So do you have any stories from your teen years you'd like to share?
Probably not the best story, but a story that comes to mind immediately is that when I was in high school, I was in a band. We were horrendous. We were a punk rock band. We were called the Stewed Prunes. No, we were called the Nude Prunes. And that was a tribute to one of our band members' fathers was in a band when he was a kid in the 50s and 60s called the Stewed Prunes. So we were the Nude Prunes. We were horrendous, but I had a younger brother who was 15 years younger than me, so he was 3 years old. My parents had left to go out to dinner or something, and they left a babysitter in charge, and we paid the babysitter, and my brother David was asleep, and we paid the babysitter $5 to deal with the baby, who we then woke up because we went out on the roof of the house, and we performed on the roof for about 20 minutes, which woke the baby up, my brother David. And then the police got called by our neighbors. It was kind of fun to watch all the lights come on around the neighborhood as we were playing our music at 11 o'clock at night. And the police came up and talked us down off the roof, and then said they were very sympathetic to our situation. And the police guy told us how he was in a band in high school, and he had played with a band. He'd played in a set, played a concert opening for the band Three Dog Night, which is a very old rock band. And then the next morning, my parents asked why the police were calling to follow up on an incident the previous evening. So that was a pretty typical Peter Booth high school situation.
So I want to transition into this whole deal of the penguin plunge. We know that you're a large contributor and take part in this penguin plunge for many years now. And really, what is your favorite part of being in the penguin plunge?
The penguin plunge is a ton of work, and amidst a ton of work, there are moments that are just really powerful for me. Probably my favorite moment every single year, including birthdays and Christmas and anniversaries. My favorite moment every single year is the moment that I'm in the warming tent that you're in before you go out to jump in the water, and there's 150 or 200 CVU kids all jammed in there in their bathing suits. And Ron Fleming is in there getting everybody super amped up, and everyone is just going nuts and screaming and yelling and super nervous and super excited. And I always feel like that is the energy that a lot of kids, that some kids here get when you're on a sports team and like everyone's cheering for you and you've got this sense of community.
Right.
And to open that experience up to kids who aren't on sports teams, who don't have a situation, who don't have a group where they are feeling that sense of community and belonging, that moment always makes me really, really happy, and I really enjoy it. The reason I'm so passionate about the Penguin Plunge is that I have children who have disabilities, and Special Olympics is really an important part of their lives. I have a son who's still in high school who does Special Olympics, and I have an older son who is 25 and is out of high school and is still does Special Olympics. And if you don't have disabilities, you probably are not aware of this, but kids with disabilities have a lot of services and support and people in their lives in high school. There's a natural community in a high school that those people are, that kids with disabilities are just kind of a part of. But as soon as you leave high school and you're sort of out in the regular world, a lot of that stuff drops away, and suddenly a lot of kids are looking at a life where their world shrinks down to basically their immediate family, and they don't have a lot of other connections outside. And Special Olympics is a way to give kids and adults opportunities to get out, to be physically active, so you're not sort of sitting on the couch all the time, and then to have a social group. There's this incredible, I always think of it as like an underground community throughout the state of Vermont that sort of most people don't know about, and that I legitimately feel privileged to know about because my kids have disabilities. So I have this whole network of parents and adult children who I would not have any connection with if it wasn't for Special Olympics. So I'm really, really passionate about Special Olympics, and because I have so many now friends in that community who Special Olympics is so important for. So
moving away from school time, what happens when it becomes the summertime? I've heard that you race motorcycles a lot of the time.
Yep.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I grew up around motorcycles. My dad had a motorcycle from the day that I was born. He bought a motorcycle very close to the day I was born, and I still have the motorcycle he bought when I was born, and I have that now. And he started racing in the 70s. When I was a kid, I would go to the racetrack in New Hampshire, which was called Briar Motorsports Park then. I would watch him race, and then once I became old enough and also had the money, because it's very expensive, I began racing about 15 years ago. I began road racing, which is sort of on a paved racetrack, and that's at New Hampshire Motor Speedway in Laconia. And I raced there with a group called club racing called the United States Classic Racing Association, USCRA, and those are all older bikes. So my primary race bike is a 1970 Suzuki T500, which is a very fast two-stroke motorcycle. My brother gave me a dirt bike, and I said, oh, maybe I'll try motocross out. So I tried motocross out 2 years ago. I'm incredibly slow. I feel like I'm really, really fast when I'm racing, but I'm incredibly slow. And the kind of the most humiliating moment of my very short motocross career was when I was going up a jump, and a jump for me is like a foot off the ground, and I feel like I'm flying. So I was going over this jump. This is up in Derby at Ryder Hill, this is the motocross track in Vermont. And I'm going over this jump, feeling like I'm flying, and then out of the corner of my eye, I see the rear wheel of a kid who is jumping over me. Like, he isn't actually over my head, but he is up high enough that the bottom of his wheel is over my head. And I looked at myself, I was like, dude, you are 50 years old, that kid is about 12, you should not be out here doing this. But, it is what it is. So I'm not gonna win any championships, that's for sure, but it's super, super fun, and I just like learning new things, and I've never really ridden in the dirt at all, so I really enjoy, riding in the dirt is the exact opposite of riding on the road in terms of what you do with your body on the bike. They're the complete opposite of each other. So it's just fun to learn something new.
All right, welcome back. I'm joined here with Peter Booth, and we're going to play a game of trivia. All right, first question. What is the color of the CVU sign at the entrance? Your options are silver,
multiple choice, good.
Gold, red, or copper.
I know that we made it here in the shop, so I know it's either copper or red, depending on if it was painted or not. I'm gonna say copper, because the red would wear. If it was painted, the red would wear off. I'm gonna say copper.
You are correct.
1
All
point
right.
for me.
Question 2. Guess how many round tables are in the cafeteria?
Round table. Do I get a range? Do I get a multiple choice in this or no?
I'll give you hot or cold.
Okay. How does 20 sound?
Cold.
How
Higher.
does higher than 20?
Higher.
Well, it's a quarter of a school at a time, so that's like 300-ish kids, and there's 10 kids to a table. Oh, okay. So I'm gonna say 35.
Very close.
I'm sticking with 35. I'm saying
35,
I think
okay.
your data's wrong.
Very close. The correct answer was 37.
Oh wow. Okay.
Right.
That's
very close.
that's real world math, kids. That was real. I just used real world math.
Number 3. Is the winter carnival before the December break or the February break?
That's easy for me because the winter carnival is always when the head shaving happens. It's going to happen. So I know winter carnival is always the day before February break.
Correct. Question number 4. How many lockers are in the school? 1,234, 2,212, or 1,191?
I'm going to say 1,191 because I think that when you were typing these questions, somebody just said 1, 2, 3, 4, and then said, I don't know, like 1, 2, 1, 1. And then they put the real number. And that's my guess.
That's
1,001.
You got it.
That is problem solving.
And the final one, how many students do we have in the school?
I'm going to say 1,290.
Very close. We're at a capacity of 1,300 students.
I'm only up by 10.
Very close.
I get a prize, right?
No.
Damn
No
it.
problem.
Oh! And
right.
lost my job.
Yeah.